There are things that doctors won't mention during your regular checkups, not because they want to hide them, but because many people assume that certain matters are no longer important with age. The truth is, if you have stopped self-stimulation in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, your body may be experiencing silent effects that you don't even notice. This is not a joke or a delicate topic for casual discussion. These are real biological changes directly affecting the prostate, the brain, sleep, the immune system, and even your sense of control over your own body. Many older adults experience familiar symptoms: frequent nighttime urination, weak urine flow, a feeling of incomplete bladder emptying, memory lapses, difficulty concentrating, restless sleep, and a sense of emptiness. They assume these are simply part of aging, but few realize that these signs can be a direct result of disconnecting from their own body. Self-stimulation is not a young person's behavior. It is a natural physiological mechanism that helps regulate hormones, stimulate circulation, support prostate function, maintain brain health, improve sleep, and balance emotions. When you stop, these mechanisms decline, leading to silent but significant changes over time. In this video, I will show you what happens inside the body when you stop self-stimulation in later life, and how a simple, private, yet science-based habit can help you restore your health, mental clarity, good sleep, and the joy of living that you thought was lost. Consequence. Number 1. Prostate decline and urinary disorders. The prostate is one of the most important organs for men's health, especially after age 60. It not only produces fluid, but also contracts, pumps, and maintains pressure in the urinary tract, helping both urination and sexual function run smoothly. Many people assume the prostate sits idle over time, but in reality, if it is not regularly stimulated, it begins to atrophy and develop serious health issues. I remember a 73-year-old patient, otherwise healthy, who walked daily and maintained an active lifestyle. He told me, "Doctor, I'm old now. I don't need that anymore." Yet he was experiencing 4 to 5 nighttime urinations, a constant feeling of a full bladder and a weak urine stream. Upon examination, his prostate was slightly enlarged with fluid buildup, clearly showing the effects of reduced physiological activity. He had completely stopped self-stimulation for nearly 8 years, and his body was beginning to send warning signals. When there is no ejaculation, whether through self-stimulation or sexual activity, prostate fluid accumulates in the ducts, causing inflammation, swelling, and pressure on the urethra. The result can be difficulty urinating, interrupted flow, a constant feeling of a full bladder, and even pelvic discomfort. Over time, this condition can lead to benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, affecting nearly half of men over 60, and sometimes requiring medical intervention, such as medication or procedures to relieve pressure. Many studies indicate that men who maintain regular ejaculation, about 21 times or more per month, have a significantly lower risk of prostate cancer compared to those who ejaculate less or not at all. This demonstrates that maintaining sexual activity, even through self-stimulation, is not about returning to youth, but about protecting bodily function and preserving autonomy in life. Not only does this help keep the prostate healthy, but it also improves sleep, reduces stress, increases blood circulation, and maintains confidence for older men. When you ignore these signals, you not only lose comfort in daily life, but also expose yourself to serious health risks. That is why reconnecting with your body in a scientific and gentle way is key to protecting the prostate and ensuring long-term quality of life. Consequence. For 2. Brain fog and reduced alertness. One of the things that worries many people after 60 is noticing that their memory is not what it used to be. They walk into a room and forget why they came. They are speaking and suddenly lose track of their thought. They lose focus more quickly, feel their mind slowing down, and their reflexes are no longer as sharp as before. Many assume this is a natural sign of aging, but in reality that is not always the case. I once had a 68-year-old patient who was very sharp, always humorous and full of life. But within just 1 year after his wife passed away, he began to notice his memory fading. He told me, "Doctor, I feel like I'm not myself anymore. I can't focus. I forget too many things." When I asked about his intimate habits, he admitted that since his wife passed, he had not touched his own body. Not because he didn't want to, but because he thought that at his age, it was no longer appropriate. What few people realize is that when you stop self-stimulation, the brain loses a range of important neurotransmitters. Dopamine, which drives motivation and memory. Serotonin, which stabilizes mood and supports focus. Oxytocin, the hormone that creates feelings of relaxation, connection, and security. All three decline significantly when the body no longer experiences natural stimulation and release. At the same time, cortisol, the stress hormone, begins to rise. At high levels, cortisol damages brain cells, especially in the hippocampus, the area responsible for memory and spatial orientation. When this continues for months or years, you start to feel your mind foggy, struggle to think clearly, forget things easily, and gradually lose the sharpness you once had. Another important point is that during self-stimulation, blood flow to the brain increases, helping nourish the neurons more effectively. When this activity disappears, blood flow to the brain decreases, making it prone to sluggishness, oxygen deficiency, and low energy. Many older adults say they no longer feel alert, but they don't realize that this decline can be prevented. When you reconnect with your body naturally, hormones start to balance, the brain becomes sharper, memory improves, and the sense of being yourself gradually returns. The brain does not age as quickly as many people think. It just needs the right biological signals to function well. One of the most important signals comes from the stimulation provided by self-stimulation. When this activity stops completely, the brain loses part of the mechanism that maintains alertness, and brain fog begins to appear quietly and gradually. Consequence number 3, depression, emotional numbness, and loss of joy. Some people enter their 60s or 70s still mentally sharp, cheerful, and full of life. But then, due to a life event, the loss of a partner, or simply the passage of time, they gradually feel their spirit becoming empty. They no longer feel joy, but they don't feel sadness either. Everything becomes flat, as if their emotions have been switched off. Sadly, many accept this as an inevitable part of aging. I still clearly remember one of my patients, Arthur, 72 years old. He used to be someone who laughed loudly and brought positive energy wherever he went. But when I saw him again nearly a year later, his eyes were dull, his smile gone, and his voice slow and lifeless. He said, "I don't feel anything anymore, doctor. Neither happy nor sad. Just empty." When I asked about his intimate life, he admitted that since his wife passed away, he had not touched his own body. "I thought I was too old for that," he said. Many people do not realize that self-stimulation is not only a physical release, but also plays an important role in emotional balance. Each time you engage in it, the body releases oxytocin and endorphins, two hormones often called the happiness hormone and the pain-relieving hormone. Oxytocin helps people feel connected, loved, and secure. Endorphins help reduce stress, relieve pain, and create a deep sense of relaxation. When this activity disappears completely, especially during older years when people are more sensitive to loneliness, the emotional system begins to weaken. A prolonged deficiency of oxytocin and endorphins causes the brain to lose one of its natural mechanisms for self-healing. Small bouts of sadness begin to accumulate. Insomnia adds to mental fatigue. Loneliness increases, and eventually, many people fall into a state of emotional numbness, no longer feeling connected to their own life. I have seen many patients regain their energy and joy simply by learning to reconnect with their bodies, not because they wanted it, but because their brains needed the emotion-balancing hormones that self-stimulation provides. Just a few weeks later, they reported beginning to feel emotions again, a sense of lightness, warmth, the desire to do something, or simply the feeling that they were still alive. Depression in later life does not always stem from major sadness. Sometimes it comes from the body losing an important connection to emotion, and stopping self-stimulation is a silent factor that weakens that connection. Consequence number 4, poor sleep and reduced recovery. Sleep is the most important key for the body of older adults to recover each day. Unfortunately, the older we get, the more people experience sleep problems. Light sleep, waking up at 2 to 3 a.m., difficulty falling back asleep and feeling sluggish the next day. Most assume poor sleep is simply due to age, but I have seen many patients whose root cause was something they never expected. They had stopped self-stimulation. One of my patients, Richard, 67 years old, came in for chronic insomnia. He had tried chamomile tea, melatonin, and even changing his sleep routine, yet he still woke up in the middle of the night feeling restless and uncomfortable. When I asked about his intimate life, he blushed and whispered, "I don't do that anymore, doctor. Not for many years." That answer explained almost everything. There is something very special in the human body. Immediately after orgasm, the body releases a cocktail of hormones including oxytocin, prolactin, and endorphins. These three hormones have a powerful effect in calming the nervous system, slowing the heart rate, relaxing the muscles, and putting the body into a deep rest state. This is why many young people sleep so well after sex or self-stimulation. It is not a coincidence, but a natural biological process. When you completely stop this activity, the body loses one of its strongest switches for turning off stress mode and entering recovery mode. The sympathetic nervous system, responsible for alertness and stress responses, remains active, making it difficult to relax before sleep and easy to wake up during the night. This creates a vicious cycle. Poor sleep, mental fatigue, increased stress, even worse sleep. Chronic insomnia does more than make you tired. It weakens memory, lowers immunity, increases the risk of falls, makes the body more prone to inflammation, and reduces overall recovery ability. In younger people, the body can compensate with energy, but for those over 60, sleep is no longer a luxury. It is a critical survival factor. Interestingly, when Richard began gently reconnecting with his body each evening, without pressure or specific goals, after about 2 weeks, he reported sleeping more deeply, waking up less during the night, and feeling much more refreshed in the morning. He said, "My body felt like it hit a reset button that I had forgotten existed." Sleep is the foundation of health, and sometimes what helps you sleep well is not a sleeping pill, but one of the most natural mechanisms your body has been programmed to use throughout your life. Consequence. Number 5, weak pelvic floor and reduced circulation. The pelvic floor forms a solid foundation supporting the bladder, intestines, and sexual organs. When these muscles are strong, you maintain urinary control, flexibility in movement, and stable sexual function. But when you stop self-stimulation, these seemingly invisible muscles lose stimulation, begin to atrophy, and circulation decreases. The consequences are not only discomfort, but also a direct impact on quality of life and daily autonomy. I remember a 70-year-old male patient who had been very active, but after completely stopping self-stimulation, he began experiencing mild urinary leakage, sometimes a feeling of a full bladder that didn't empty completely, and tightness in the pelvic area. At first, he was embarrassed, thinking it was just an age-related issue. But upon closer examination, I noticed that his pelvic floor had lost its natural elasticity, blood circulation was poor, and the nerves were less stimulated. It's not only men who face these issues. Women at this age can experience similar problems. Vaginal dryness, pain during intercourse, or a loss of comfort and connection with their own body. Self-stimulation acts like a natural physiological exercise for the pelvic floor. When stimulated and reaching orgasm, the muscles contract rhythmically. Blood is pumped to the pelvic area, nerves are activated, and the muscles maintain flexibility. When this activity ceases, the muscles weaken, circulation decreases, and functions dependent on the pelvic floor begin to decline. Gradually, you may find it harder to stand for long periods, have difficulty urinating or performing light physical activity without fatigue, and experience reduced ability to maintain sexual function. The good news is that the body responds very quickly when reactivated. Reconnecting with the body through self-stimulation, gentle pelvic massage, or Kegel exercises helps restore circulation, strengthen nerve signaling, and keep the muscles firm. Many of my patients have regained bladder control, reduced pelvic tension, and improved sexual function after just a few weeks of consistent practice. Weak pelvic floor muscles are not just a physical issue, They also affect psychology and confidence. Many people avoid social outings, limit interactions, or reduce physical activity due to worries about urination or feeling out of control in their own body. When the pelvic floor is reactivated, not only is physical function improved, but the sense of independence, self-control, and comfort with one's own body also returns. Consequence number 6. Weakened immune system. The human body is designed to protect and restore itself. One of the most effective ways to maintain a strong immune system is through hormones and neurotransmitters naturally activated, especially when the body experiences pleasure. When you stop self-stimulation, the body loses one of these natural mechanisms, and the immune system begins to quietly weaken. I once had a 68-year-old male patient who complained that every time he caught a cold, he had to take a full week off work and recovered very slowly. When I asked about his intimate habits, he admitted that he had abandoned self-stimulation many years ago. This is not an isolated case. When the body no longer experiences these natural moments of stimulation, levels of immunoglobulin A, IgA, the antibody that protects mucous membranes, decrease. At the same time, endorphins and oxytocin are no longer fully released, making it harder to control inflammation in the body and slowing recovery. As a result, older adults become more prone to colds, respiratory infections, and slower recovery from illness. Even simple stimulation through self-stimulation sends a signal that the body is alive, active, and ready to respond to potential threats. When this signal disappears, the body enters a passive state, immunity declines, and overall health deteriorates. A 72-year-old female patient had gone nearly 5 years without touching her own body. When she began reconnecting through gentle exercises and self-stimulation, she noticed remarkable changes. Her cold symptoms significantly decreased, her body recovered more quickly, and her mood became uplifted. This was not luck, but a natural biological response when the body is properly stimulated. It is important to recognize that self-stimulation is not just about pleasure or personal habit. It is actually part of a physiological mechanism that helps maintain the immune system, protect the body against illness, and enable older adults to remain healthy, active, and independent. Stopping this activity means missing out on an important natural tool for keeping the body strong and balanced. Consequence number 7, loss of body ownership and self-confidence. There are losses you cannot see, yet they deeply affect life. One of these is losing connection with your own body. When older adults stop self-stimulation, they are not only giving up pleasure or a personal habit, but gradually losing the sense of owning their body, the feeling that I am still in control of myself. This is a silent yet extremely serious impact affecting psychology, emotions, and daily behavior. I remember one of my patients, George, 78 years old, who had once been a respected, confident, and active school principal. But when he sat in front of me, his eyes were empty and his voice heavy with sadness. He confessed, I don't feel like I'm living in this body anymore. I'm just existing in it. He had given up self-stimulation many years ago, and along with that, the small signals that helped his body recognize that he was still alive and present had gradually faded away. When the body is not activated through intimate moments, the nerves and hormones associated with self-presence are no longer maintained. You begin to feel disconnected from your own body, lose a sense of control, and lose interest in everyday activities. In fact, many people start neglecting themselves, exercising less, and paying little attention to their appearance or health. This mindset not only affects confidence, but also reduces overall quality of life. However, reconnecting with the body, even through small, private, and gentle actions, can reverse this effect. When patients begin focusing on bodily sensations, performing light exercises, and practicing regular self-stimulation, they quickly regain a sense of presence, confidence, and ownership of their body. One of my patients said that after just a few weeks, he felt his body come alive again, his mind sharper, and the feeling of, I still matter, returned. Self-stimulation is not simply about satisfying physical needs. It is the body's way of reminding you that you still exist, that you still have ownership over yourself and your life. At 60, 70, or 80, ignoring this mechanism means gradually losing a sense of autonomy and connection with yourself. When you reestablish this connection, you not only restore your physical health, but also regain joy, confidence, and dignity, things that age cannot take away from you. Once you fully understand the consequences that stopping self-stimulation has on the body, the next important step is learning how to restart safely, gently, and scientifically. This is not about returning to youth or trying to regain desire. It is about reconnecting with your body, reestablishing important physiological mechanisms, maintaining prostate health, and improving circulation, memory, sleep, mood, and immune function. The first step is to start gently, without pressure. You don't need to overexert yourself or set long-term goals. Each session only requires a few minutes, focusing on sensations, relaxation, and body awareness. Create a private, quiet, and comfortable space where you won't be interrupted. Soft lighting and even gentle music can help the body relax and reduce the stress. Next, combine deep breathing with body awareness. Deep breathing helps activate the parasympathetic nervous system, calming the nervous system and preparing the body for connection. During this process, focus on the sensations in each part of the body, especially the pelvic area, which houses many important organs related to the bladder, intestines, and sexual organs. Another important aspect is activating the pelvic floor and blood circulation. Gentle Kegel exercises or pelvic massage help the muscles contract and stretch, stimulate circulation, and keep the nerves and muscles firm. This is a natural way to maintain bladder function, reduce pelvic tension, and improve flexibility during movement. Regular activity helps prevent muscle atrophy, lowers the risk of urinary leakage, and enhances your sense of presence in your body. When starting to reconnect, focus on consistency rather than intensity or duration. Even short, regular sessions are far more effective than trying to prolong or overdo it in a single instance. Pay attention to changes in your sleep, energy, mood, bladder control, and body awareness. This allows you to notice clear progress and provides motivation to continue the practice. Finally, remember that reconnecting with your body is not about shame or desire, but about your health, dignity, and autonomy. You are not broken, you are not too old to care for yourself, and you still deserve to feel alive, connected, and whole. Every small step you take to activate your body again protects your brain, cardiovascular system, hormones, and independence, while bringing back joy and confidence that many believe is lost forever. Starting today, spend a few minutes each evening reconnecting with your body, practicing deep breathing, gentle massage, activating your pelvic floor, and focusing on your own sensations. These small changes can have a big impact. Improve sleep, clearer mind, a more flexible body, and a stronger sense of I am still here than ever before. Age does not mean you have to give up your body, your joy, or your autonomy. The changes your body experiences when you stop self-stimulation are not signs that you are old or expired. They are simply your body's way of telling you that certain important biological mechanisms need to be reactivated. When you reconnect with your body in a natural and science-based way, you not only protect the prostate, but also improve memory, sleep, mood, immunity, circulation, and your sense of self-control. Every small step you take, a few minutes of deep breathing, gentle pelvic massage, pelvic floor activation, or light self-stimulation, brings powerful effects. It helps you sleep better, feel mentally sharper, move more freely, and most importantly, restores the feeling of I am alive, I still exist. This is something age cannot take away from you, as long as you actively care for yourself. If you found this video helpful, please like it, share it with someone who might need to hear this message, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss future videos specially designed for older adults to live healthy, happy, and independent lives. I'd also love to know where you're watching this video from, so leave a comment. Sharing your story could help someone else feel they are not alone on the journey of self-care.